The Curse of Bridge Hollow. I thought I would do a review on this movie since I just had the opportunity to watch it. It came out on the 14th, but this past week was so insane that I never got a chance to really see the movie. Now, I have watched it here on Netflix, and it's actually a really good movie. I was surprised how good it was. It does have a few issues in a couple of places, but otherwise, really good movie. I mean, you got Stranger Things story, you got Marlon Wayans, for crying out loud, from Scary Movie. What more is there to love? And look at that. That's that dude from the commercials, you know, the one that's like, you know, Progressive. Or whatever the insurance commercial is and stuff. You get the basic point. So, how do I feel about the film? Well, that picture right there tells you a lot. The story is basically... Wance's character is a school teacher, a science teacher, a guy of science, and he finally gets this job here in this town called Bridge Hollow, basically small town America. He goes in, and of course, his daughter is miserable. His wife's like, okay, but he's moving there because it's the safest place, and he's going from Brooklyn, New York. However, the whole town is Halloween nut job, and he is like Grinch type dude for Halloween. He just doesn't want to steal it. He just doesn't want to do anything with it. He's a total like nut job for science and everything. And that's all that matters to him. Even making his daughter's life a living hell. And it makes a pretty good point. However, as you can see, he basically, you know,
Madam Hawthorne, can you hear me?
basically drags them to this thing. Now the problem is that the house they move into is haunted and is the receptacle for Stingy Jack, who basically tricks the daughter, who is, you know, already mad at her dad, and things just continue to escalate, and finally rebels against him, and she's like, yeah, F it, you know, and she goes totally Halloween nut job herself. They don't actually use the F word in the movie, though, thank God. It is for kids. In fact, I think it's PG-13. I didn't see the rating. Oh well. But you get the hint. Anyways, so she lights his lantern, and all the Halloween decorations come to life. And eventually, they have to start figuring out what is going on. Now, the dad, he is still in total denial until, like, this giant spider that's on top of this old folks' home comes to life, where he learns the story that years ago, this woman's grandmother, like, I think in the 1920s, had sealed Stingy Jack in his own lantern. And because Jack had discovered a loophole to get out and basically make every night Halloween, because he can only come out on Halloween night itself from basically dusk until midnight. So you've got some time to cause some mischief. The problem is he's stuck. And it's only until this lantern is lit that now his power, and he starts building an army of decorations. And there's a lot of great stuff. So they learn from the granddaughter that they need, of course, the lantern, and they need a binding spell. But the problem is they now have to find the binding spell. They have to find this binding spell, or otherwise it's game over and Jack wins. So they have to not only save the town, stop him from sacrificing someone, and basically do everything before midnight. And it's pretty cool in that regard, especially when you got decorations coming to life everywhere in all kinds of designs. And you also have the father and daughter relationship, which is already in bad shape, having to be put up with this, and the father having to realize, you know, is this right? He's having to overcome his own fear, especially of skeletons, and other things. And it makes the movie a lot better than you would think. And also the quality of the film. The visual effects here are very good. I mean, they have everything from animatronics to guys in suits to CGI everywhere. I actually have to say, I thought this movie was like something you could see in theaters and would be no problem. It has that kind of quality to it. And yet, it works perfectly for Netflix. And if you've seen the Death Note movie, even though that movie sucks, it had that quality. And it looked very professional like a Hollywood film you would expect to see up on a bloody big screen. And I would kind of like to see this up on the big screen, to be fair. I really would. It would be awesome. One of the things I liked and disliked about the film. Okay, they do make some, kind of dumb jokes about white people in this movie. For example, there's a joke about white privilege, believe it or not, but even the wife gives him a look of, did you really just say that? But the second joke is not as bad because it's said by both a black and a white girl. So, it's like, why is there this crazy white lady who's getting out of a pumpkin car notice and she does the same joke? So they understand. The movie, though, has two sets to it, in my opinion. There's the whole beginning act until the moment the lantern is lit. And a lot of people agree that is like the worst part of the film. And while I understand why it's there, the film could have been so different in those parts. It has ghost activity. You have the continuing degradation of the family system because of the father's decisions. She gave up everything, including her friends, so it makes sense that she would be very unhappy. And also her father's inability to let her do anything for Halloween. I mean, God, it's Halloween. And as somebody who has lived in both apartments, because they lived in a Brooklyn apartment, and also houses, I can tell you, yes, there is a very big difference. Even in an apartment, either inside or just like on your windows and stuff, you can go crazy decorating. People do it all over the place. But it's nowhere near what you can do with a house. In my front yard right now, there are pumpkins, skeletons, a blow-up pumpkin, orange Christmas, like Halloween lights, because they do make a Christmas version of lights, but for Halloween. And I use the orange variety for everything for lighting effects. Works really great. In fact, there's a house down the block from me that has like huge stuff. So, a lot. And in my case, I'm one of the houses that really decks out and does like something big for Halloween. But in my case, it's just a set piece for when the kids come up to trick or treat. So you get a part of the idea here. And these people in this town have gone nuts. So he's like in hell, for crying out loud. But unfortunately, this continues to make his relationship with his daughter all the worse. Just all the bloody worse. And he hates it. I don't blame the guy one bit. And they do pull up some pretty funny jokes. There's that old folks home. Once the action and the real good comedy starts, and I mean, they have a decoration of a Grim Reaper come in, and this one guy's like, nope, and starts walking away. That is both believable, realistic, and totally fun. It's a dark, sort of straight family horror comedy kind of film. In fact, if it ever turns back, you'll actually see that it's sort of listed as a family comedy, horror, Halloween, spiritual, whatever kind of comedy. It's funny as hell. But I'm not going to lie, it has a few moments where you're like, oh God, they really just do that? However, once all the action starts, it really gets good. You have Walking Dead references. I think there's a Stranger Things reference. There's definitely a Killer Clowns from Outer Space reference when there's these clown creatures that come to life. And they have, while they're not exact ripoffs, they do look like the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And they're actually pretty terrifying. I agree with people like, oh my God, why did it have to be clowns? And of course for the dad, it's why did it have to be skeletons? I think they're riffing on Indiana Jones there. But it works very well for the film. The other thing that surprised me was because Sinji Jack is the villain of the piece, they actually do give him a very good setup. There's this thing called the Sinji Jack Festival. And if you've ever heard of the legend of Sinji Jack, you'll understand why I'm actually kind of impressed. Now, they do have this little monologue of this chick's sweater that tells the story about how he was a terrible person. He was hung by the descendants of this town, and the devil took pity on him, and he comes back every year to take revenge on the town because it's full of the descendants. But the real story, well, the original legend, which is later revealed even in the movie, is that Jack was a pretty terrible person, and the devil came to take his soul not once but twice. Jack literally outsmarted him twice. The first time he got to live a year longer, and the second time his soul would never go to hell, and he would not be taken by Satan, so no dying there. However, Jack did die because he was not a good person. He was a hard-drinking pain in the butt. But heaven wouldn't let him in, even though he had managed to pull one over on the devil twice. I mean, God, that's like, damn. And then, of course, he gets to hell, and he's like, yeah, the devil wants me, but the devil's like, remember the deal? You're screwed. But the devil takes pity on him and gives him two things: a turnip that's been carved into a lantern and an ember of hell. And in a way, this is what gives his character in the movie all this power, because he's actually a pretty dangerous character. And I'm not kidding on this one. And the turnip is very accurate. It does have this red glowing light when it's lit, so there's your ember of hell. And I was actually surprised that they stuck with a turnip, because even in the lady's legend on her sweater, she says pumpkin. And of course, when they make the Stingy Jack effigy every year, it's got a pumpkin head. So, you know, and of course the daughter points out, oh, that's why you use the term jack-o'-lantern, and that's because he was known as Stingy Jack, Jack of the Lantern, and of course jack-o'-lanterns. And North America, pumpkin has been the best for carving. And it's, again, the big orange pumpkin we use, that's pretty much found here in the U.S. Basically North America, you know, down to South America. So it makes sense. And that's your villain. And he actually is seen in the movie. He's pretty decent. There are some actual scares, and there are some funny moments. There's even like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre like homage and stuff. And even, you know, Marlon rips off these skeleton arms and he goes all Michelangelo nunchuck, but with freaking arm body parts on these skeletons. And the visual effects are really good. Again, it was enough to make me want to see the movie not once, not twice, but 3 times. And now I kind of also waiting to see if it will get a, to be fair, a Blu-ray release. Plus, this is one of the movies that's being streamed to me in 4K, so that's another great thing. And it looks great. Like I said, I would be really happy with this in theaters. And because I also have my good sound system down there, I can actually tell you it sounds really good. Right now I'm just watching it with TV speakers, but it's actually a very good movie. It fits very well. I would recommend it to anybody. I think like ass and shit are like the worst language you're going to hear in the movie, to be fair. And there's definitely some funny jokes. I mean, there's a spider one with something about Charlotte's Web. I'll leave that for you finding out. And as for the ending of the film and how that plays out, I don't want to spoil that. It's really good. She also meets some friends in the town. One of them dresses up as Cruella de Vil. Another one dresses up like Hamilton. The other one, Spider-Gwen. So they definitely were able to get some hold of some stuff. And it just makes me so happy. Plus, there's actually more Halloween stuff being added to Netflix at this moment, both old and new. And that makes me pretty happy. I probably want to do some secondary videos where I just go through, watch, and review this stuff for Netflix. And even one of the videos I was considering for my own personal collection for this is here, which is Dracula Untold. I'm kind of like, you know what? I really need to watch that movie. I can either go for my Blu-ray over there, which is probably going to be the better option, or just for the hell of it, you know, put it on here. But there's a lot of other movies too. There's a lot. There's a lot. Besides the work I'm doing for the 13 Days of Halloween, and also we're in a countdown both to Halloween, but also Gotham Knights. It's coming out soon, so hopefully I'll be able to get that, unbox it. Please let it be on time this time. And also, you know, get you some impressions on the gameplay. But this was a good movie. I was very happy with the feel. Again, the opening until you get to the point where the lantern is lit is very slow, monoculous, and I'm like, get to the good shit already. Anyways, stuff like that. So guys, it is actually a good movie. I will recommend it, and I think you should definitely check it out, especially for Halloween. And that guy right there gives you an idea on what I'm planning for my Halloween costume this year. Little scarecrow, pumpkin patch. Actually, what am I planning? Like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you later.